Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video I'm going to show the books I borrowed during a recent library visit and the books I bought during a recent visit to a local Barnes & Noble. I visited the library on August 11th. I borrowed 4 books. The first book I borrowed was Maximum Ride, School's Out Forever by James Patterson. Years ago I read the book Maximum Ride, The Angel Experiment, and I really liked it. Wanted to continue with the series, I just never did, so I saw this book at the library and I decided to borrow it. It is the second book of the series. Just going to read from the inner part of the dust jacket what it says. If you've already devoured James Patterson's #1 best-selling blockbuster, Maximum Ride, The Angel Experiment, stop right here. Just turn the page and hold on tight. As for the rest of you, well, where have you been? Meet Max, Fang, Iggy, Gasman, Nudge, and Angel. 6 absolutely unforgettable kids with some major problems. They're being hunted by killers, but who? It's even worse than that. Max is sure that a microchip has been inserted under her skin, leading freakish forces of evil to ambush her at any moment. Worse, she and the others are supposed to save the world, but from what, when, and how? Max will stop at nothing to find answers. One thing she does know, it's got something to do with an astounding ability they have that no others can claim. They can fly. Max's heart-stopping quest to protect her family and investigate the mind-blowing mystery of her ultimate destiny continues in the scariest, strangest, and funniest James Patterson thriller yet. The Angel Experiment was just a test drive. Now brace yourself for the Maximum Ride. Figured even though this is the second book in the series, because it's in the synopsis, it's okay to say it. The second book I borrowed is Heartstopper Volume 2 by Oseman. I read the first book a while back, liked it, so I want to continue the series. The last 2 or 3 library visits I had looked and didn't see that they had this book. They had the first and the fourth, but on my library visit on the 11th they had this book. Just going to read this blurb. Absolutely delightful, sweet, romantic, kind, beautifully paced. I love this book. Rainbow Rowell, author of Carry On. All I'll say is that in the first book we met Nick and Charlie, the main characters of the book. They are both rugby players at a school in England, and they develop a friendship and it develops into a romance. And don't really want to say more about it than that. It's a very popular series though. Oh, one thing more I should say, it's a graphic novel series. The third book I borrowed is The Committed by Viet Hguyen. And I'll just read some blurbs on the back. Praise for The Committed. The Committed is a wonderful successor to The Sympathizer, a splendid tapestry of a novel, full of dubious but richly realized characters. It is difficult to know where to start with the praise. The characters have a sad and often tragic complexity, and the language offers a terrible ride for the reader. This is a grand novel full of breathtaking, luminous insights and pure joy to read. Edward P. Jones. The Committed marks not just a sequel to its groundbreaking predecessor, but a sum total accumulation of a life devoted to Vietnamese American history and scholarship. It asks questions central both to Vietnamese everywhere, to our very own species. How do we live in the wake of seismic loss and betrayal? And perhaps even more critically, how do we laugh? Ocean Vuong. Viet Hguyen gives an unsparing look at the poisonous effects of ideology, whether colonialism, communism, or capitalism, even if, as he explores the deep-seated need we have to believe in something. A deep, compelling, and humorous portrait of how we are shaped by fictions others have for us. Layla Lalami. The fourth book I borrowed is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is the third book in the ACOTAR series. As such, I really don't want to say anything about it because as it's the third book, but I really did like the first two books, and I've read a little bit of this book so far. I will talk about it in my next weekly update, but I am enjoying it a lot. A little slow for me at first, but once it got going, I really started to enjoy it. I visited a local Barnes & Noble on August 14th. The second time with this particular one. It's new. It just opened the latter part of last year. Looked around a lot. I was probably there about an hour and a half. I ended up buying 5 books. The first is Komi Can't Communicate, Volume 1 by Tomohito Oda. This is a book where I saw a recommendation card under it and ended up buying it. Just read what it says in the back. Komi Can't Communicate. Socially anxious high school student Shoko Komi's greatest dream is to make some friends, but everyone at school mistakes her crippling social anxiety for cool reserve. With the whole student body keeping its distance and Komi unable to utter a single word, friendship might be forever beyond her reach. Timid Tadano is a total wallflower, and that's just the way he likes it. But all that changes when he finds himself alone in a classroom on the first day of high school with the legendary Komi. He quickly realizes she isn't aloof, she's just super awkward. Now he's made it his mission to help her on her quest to make 100 friends. The journey to 100 friends begins with a single conversation. I should mention that this is a manga book. The second book I bought was Severance by Ling Ma. Just read what it says in the back. Winner of the Whiting Award for Fiction, winner of the NYPL Young Lions Fiction Award, winner of the Kirkus Prize for Fiction, winner of the VCU Cable First Novelist Award, finalist for the Penn Hemingway Award for Debut Novel. And then it's named a Best Book of the Year by a bunch of organizations. Read this blurb. The best work of fiction I've read yet about the millennial condition, the alienation and cruelty that comes with being a functional person under advanced global capitalism, and the compromised pleasures and irreducibly personal meaning to be found in claiming some stability in a terrible world. Ling Ma has written one of my favorite novels of the year, Gia Tolentino, The New Yorker. Third book I bought is Slasher Summer by E.L. Chen. I was sold when I saw the title and the picture on this one. Didn't really even look at the description of it. Just as a person, although not recently, has seen a fair amount of slasher movies in the past. Just read what it says in the back. A fun, twisty tribute to the cult films of the 1980s. Slasher Summer shows that the real horror is never being able to escape who you were in high school. 7 old friends reunite in the sleepy town of Cedar Lake at the remote cabin where the cult B movie Slasher was filmed. Things have changed since high school and they're looking forward to a weekend to catch up. But when night falls, a masked figure is spotted in the woods and the reunion takes a deadly turn. Is someone trying to make their slasher experience as authentic as possible? I'll just read one blurb. A bloody Valentine love letter slasher films that asks the question, what if the cast of The Breakfast Club ended up in the world of Scream? Ian Rogers, author of Every House is Haunted. And that blurb too makes me want to read this. The fourth book I borrowed is Nuclear War, A Scenario by Annie Jacobsen. I had previously read her Area 51. I did think it maybe went off the rails a little at the end, but overall I found it really interesting. And she has a new book coming out soon. I think it's about biological warfare. Not totally positive. But just read what it says in the back. The New York Times and Los Angeles Times bestseller. One of Newsweek's favorite books of the year. Finalist Dayton Literary Peace Prize. Shortlisted for the Bailey Gifford Prize. There is only one scenario other than an asteroid strike that could end the world as we know it in a matter of hours: nuclear war. Every generation of journalists has looked deep into the heart of the nuclear military establishment. These investigations are vital to how we understand the world we really live in, where one nuclear missile will beget one in return, where the choreography of the world's end requires massive decisions made on seconds' notice. Pulitzer Prize finalist Annie Jacobsen's nuclear war scenario explores this ticking clock scenario, built on dozens of exclusive new interviews with military and civilian experts who have built the weapons, been privy to the response plans, and been responsible for those decisions should they have needed to be made. Nuclear war scenario is unlike any other book in its depth and urgency. Its gripping sequence of events, with brief reprieves for revealing history lessons, moves from the first-hand account of a woman who survived the Hiroshima bombing at 13 years old to the hypothetical California rancher who catches a mushroom cloud on video and is witness to the beginning and end. From data facilities and orbiting satellites to a bunker in Washington where the president and cabinet are responsible for implementing what happens next, nuclear war explores exactly what happens in the 72 minutes from launch to annihilation. So, not exactly a fun book, but it'll be interesting. And the final book I borrowed was the legendary Toad's Place, Stories from New Haven's Famed Music Venue by Brian Phelps and Randall Beach. Toad's Place is a club in New Haven, Connecticut, which, despite me going to lots of concerts, I figure over 600 in my life, and going to concerts in 5 different states, counting Connecticut, I've never actually been to Toad's Place, but a lot of great bands have played there, so when I saw this book, as we were walking around at Barnes, I had to pick it up, just read a little bit what it says in the back. What I loved about Toad's Place is that they let you do more than just show up and set your band up and play. You could actually curate some kind of show that was interesting to people, different. Cyndi Lauper. I loved Toad's Place. It gave aspiring artists and musicians in Connecticut a chance to discover who they were musically and the freedom to strengthen what they would need in order to have any chance of having a career in music. Looking back, I can clearly see that Brian applied the same kind of commitment, veracity, and focus that he did when I used to see him in the dojo, karate school. Long live Toads, Michael Bolton. I have fond memories all around of Toad's Place. We always loved playing there. It seemed like every show we did there was great. It's a great club. Al Anderson of NRBQ. I've always said that the best way to tell if a band is any good or not is to hear them in a club like Toad's Place. We love that joint. Huey Lewis of Huey Lewis in the News. And then here's a synopsis. Anyone who has lived near New Haven, Connecticut in the past 40 plus years has surely heard of Toad's Place. With a capacity of 750, Toad's has served as the perfect spot for musicians who prefer smaller venues. U2 played one of their first U.S. concerts there on their Boy Tour. In 1978, Bruce Springsteen was in New Haven, arrived at Toad's unannounced, and got up and played. The surprises kept coming, and the club was attracting big names as well as up-and-comers. In 1989, the Rolling Stones played a surprise show on a Saturday night, giving 700 fans the night of their dreams. Nothing could have been better. The Rolling Stones in downtown New Haven was unimaginable. That is only a taste of the stories that are uncovered in this book. Randall Beach and Toad's owner, Brian Phelps, recall the legendary shows and behind-the-scenes stories. I would be interested in knowing if you read any of the books I mentioned, or they might possibly be books you're interested in reading. If you'd like to let me know, please add a comment. If you can't think of anything else to comment, please add an emoji, perhaps a book or a book stack emoji, or an emoji of your choice. I hope you're having a wonderful reading week. I hope you're having a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe. Please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.